Hello?
Hello, Jenny?
Hi, is that Sage?
Yes, it is.
Good. Can you hear me properly?
I can hear you fine, yes.
Okay, good. Excellent. Well, thanks for calling. How's it going?
I'm doing fine. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, well, I really just wanted to have an informal chat with you. I don't have I'm not definitely going to write a piece. I just wanted to sort of ask you some questions informally and just find out a bit more about the group that you have at Kennesaw and what your plans are for, the upcoming year.
Okay.
Are you actually a student at Kennesaw?
Yes, I am.
Okay, and what do you study?
Computer science.
Sorry, say that again?
Computer science.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. The group that you set up, that was set up in the fall of last year, is that right?
Yes, it was, I think it was November 11th that the group was approved by committee.
Okay. I haven't read that much, but just, what would you say is the purpose of your group, or how would you describe the purpose?
We're a human rights advocacy organization that specializes in issues affecting men and boys. Of course, there's benefit to women on campus as well, but the specialization is just something that handles issues that have been previously neglected, both on campus and in the community outside.
So what kinds of issues would you say have been neglected?
I'm sorry, you're breaking up. Could you repeat that?
Yeah, what kinds of issues have been neglected?
Well, in terms of men, in college in particular, suicide rates is a very big one. So one thing that KSUM offers is mentoring for men that do not feel welcome on campus, who do not feel like they're in a good environment. And this includes, gay men, African American men, or what have you. It's there's also the dropping of graduation rates and the degree achievement for men. There's
just on the first thing, the suicide rate. What is the suicide rate?
The suicide rate, as I remember it being reported by Dr. Miles Groth in Psychology Today, and for college-age males is 4 times higher than that of women. I do not know the specific absolute value. All I know is that it's 4 times higher than that of women.
And that's not a Kennesaw, but you're saying across the United States?
Right, across the United States. As for the, if you go to Kennesaw State Security, you should be able to see some stats on the reports of various, whether it be crimes or certain other issues have happened. I believe they may have statistics on suicide, but I'm not sure about that. Yeah, but the source I'm running on is, again, if you look at the suicide statistics across the nation, those are what I'm operating on.
Oh, okay.
We do have, to give you an idea about what's going on, specifically on our campus, we do have an IPV center that has not been advertising to men, and there's another group on campus that has been assisting in finding the victims of domestic violence who are male on campus and pointing them to there, and what KSUM's been doing is trying to reach out to those men as well to make sure that they get the help they need. Something like that.
So for you, it's so much a case of positioning men as victims on campus, sort of following the feminist approach in a way, but applying it to men and kind of seeing men as victims?
No. We're not trying to cast men as victims, because that would imply that they were not victims to begin with. We look at men who are victims, and we find them help that they are not finding. There's a very big difference, and to say that we are following a feminist tactic means ascribing men a status of victimhood that is undeserved. So we're not like that at all.
Okay. It seems as if, in terms of my understanding of feminism, it has changed, in the last decade or so, and has become, somewhat more victim-orientated. Is that not something that you recognize, or is that something, or do you think that? I certainly
think that it's politically fashionable to be considered a victim, but the fact of the matter is is that when you look at actual victims, it is important that they get the help that they need. And in the event that their help is being neglected, it's important that somebody is around to actually offer that help. And KSU Men is the first organization of its kind in the state of Georgia. And it's also the first organization to be found to emerge from the A Voice for Men community. So the fact that there's no other help of this kind before it in the area shows that it is necessary, it is needed. There was no one else to help on this particular front.
So, I mean, what kind of gave you the idea to kind of start this up at Kennesaw? I mean, I'm just curious about your experience and about why you felt there was this sort of vacuum or lack of services for men.
What did you want to learn more about? So just so I can understand your question right, you wanted me to talk more about why I founded KSUM or why I got into the men's movement in particular?
Well, I see that I'm really trying to find out more about the culture at Kennesaw as you see it. But I realize that you're involved in the movement nationally as well. So I'm not sure which of those come first.
Well, discussing the campus community, Kennesaw State is 60% women and predominantly white demographic-wise. Now, the campus culture is there is a lot of religious influence here as well, but the religious influence is highly varied across. But overall, it's pretty much a college that's been geared toward women with the programs that are on there, such as with Kennesaw Women in Mathematics, Women in Technology, and things like that, which is fine. But there is no support for the males on campus. And I can give you a little bit of history here. Back in February of last year, I attended an organization called the Gentlemen's Club, which I thought was the kind of help that was not present, was not there before. Now, the Gentlemen's Club, which I thought it's a horrible name, by the way, but the Gentlemen's Club was a place where it was a male-only meetings where guys would sit down and essentially have a group therapy session. And the problem with this was that they tried to have the men who attended the meetings sign a form saying they would not actually talk about anything they would actually not even socialize with any of the members outside of the group. So it's different from most therapy sessions where you agree not to share personal information, which is understandable. They went further to say don't even talk to one another outside of the group, which I thought was detrimental to having an open dialogue. So basically KSU Men offers that open dialogue and offers that space where people can talk about whatever they want, and it's not just men only. Men and women are welcome.
And just so you understand, I mean, if I were to write about this, I would want to interview more people and spend a lot more time on this. So really, this is just a sort of preliminary thing. And actually, just in your voicemail, you said that you were the only one. Did you say you were the only one allowed to speak to the media, or I can't remember the exact way you phrased it.
It's just that the members of KSU Men right now, since it's all students. A lot of them are worried about getting their degrees done, and since men's rights activism is still politically incorrect and still politically taboo for a lot of people, they're worried about their careers. So they choose not to be public with their opinions, and I'm the only one who has been in the public eye. So that's why you're talking to me.
Okay. I mean, I don't think I'd be able to do a story based on that. I feel if I was going to, I'd want to come to Kennesaw, I would want to get a sense for the issues and a sense for the kinds of people who were signing up for this.
I would be delighted to help you in that research if you so needed it.
Yeah, and really at this point, I just want to be clear with you because I don't want. I really think this is, as I say, me just trying to get a sense for what you're about, because it seems to me that this is something that is going to become more of an issue. It hasn't been written about that much, or it's been written about very partially. It's often written about in very sensational ways by feminists, and there's a lot of heated rhetoric.
Oh, you bet. When KSUM was being founded, There was some opposition. Thankfully, the opposition was not as strong as other examples I could name. But I did get a hate note. I got a very long string of emails from that individual that you saw on the AVFM article that prompted you to contact me to begin with. That conversation actually went far beyond those two articles, and I didn't want to keep writing about it. So but there's a lot of vitriol, there's a lot of misunderstandings, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that talking about men's issues is taboo, even though there's no ill will on the part of, the people who just have compassion for gender equity. Essentially there is a very strong dogmatic force at work here, where basically you know how people kind of think Republicans are like the authority on business, or Democrats are the authority on environmentalism. You know how people get that impression?
Right.
I mean that's not true. I mean, anybody could talk about either of those things. But feminism is under that same kind of light. People assume it is the authority on gender equity or equality, but there are other perspectives out there that we advocate. And we decided to specialize in men and boys again because there are guys out there who don't have the help, and that they can't get that help from the current perspectives that are out there. So we're offering what was missing.
So how you say that you've got some hate mail, and there has been some resistance. I mean, just in terms of the process of setting this group up, what support did you get, and how much resistance was there? Did you have to get a faculty member to support them?
Yes. How it works at KSU is that every student organization has to have a faculty endorsement, and the endorsement comes from the faculty member that would become the advisor. Right now, KSUM has 2 advisors, and in order for the organization to be founded, every organization needs to get 15 signatures on a petition, and we got that. And we also got another 15 from a recent event at a tailgate at student orientation just a couple weeks ago. So, I mean, the support is there as well. It's just polarizing.
And who are your advisors?
I don't know if they want to be public. I would have to get back with you on that.
Okay, yeah, no, I mean,
see, because of the highly political nature of the organization, basically the only, I'd have to see if they're tenured and to see if they would be comfortable making their political stances known. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just out of respect to them. If they already told me that they'd be okay with that, I'd tell you right now.
So you set this up, and then you have 2 meetings a week. Is that right?
Yeah, we're at 2 meetings a week, Tuesday and Thursday.
Okay, and then the resistance that you've had has been a while. I see there's opposition to the flyers or the posters you put up, but I'm just curious about.
Resistance to flyers and posters? Yeah, I mean, we got that. I mean, we've had flyers ripped down. We just recently had a 42 by 56 poster, this really big poster that we put up, taken down, and we had approval by the staff. They said that they were still thinking it was up there, but I mean, no. I mean, students would try to actively remove the materials and hide the message.
I mean, so going into the next academic year, what are your kind of aims, or what do you see as sort of? I mean, do you see more of this happening? I mean, do you see this as being more of a struggle?
What's happening this next academic year, starting in the fall, is that we're going to be hosting a conference on educational equity. It's that you know about that big conference in Detroit, in Michigan, that happened recently, and it was a wonderful experience for those that went and were supporting it. But we're going to be hosting a smaller scale conference that's more specialized in educational issues that affect men and boys, and that's going to be on November 1st. And that's pretty much the focus from this point on, because conferences do take a lot of work to set up. We already got the event approved. It's on its way. And that event takes place 10 days before the first officer election and the first year anniversary of KSOM. So it's going to be a very big start. And on November 11th, that's when the new officers are decided, and I think that we're going to have a model that will prove the longevity of the organization. I'm optimistic.
And what about other parts of the state or the country? I mean, do you have plans, or are you talking about sort of expanding, the KSU kind of program to other areas?
Well, on the national scale, or rather on the large international scale, given the size of Voice for Men, I serve as the collegiate activism director there, and basically my job is to assist in the growth and mentor anybody who wants to learn about developing men's rights activism on their campuses. So I would, of course, be still doing that. And what I would like to do is, after I get, once my term as president for KSOM ends, is to go out and start pursuing the university system of Georgia and try a top-down approach, since I'm not a student anywhere else in the system. And then, of course, if the conference turns out to if the conference earns enough revenue, I'd like to reinvest in the men's rights community by offering donations to organizations and people wanting to start up their own thing. So growth is in the future.
Sorry, go on.
I said growth is in the future.
Okay, so over the next month, I mean, you're basically gearing up to the November the 1st conference. But over the next month, I mean, do you have anything that would be particularly interesting to come along to? Or I'm assuming you're going to be greeting new students and
over the next month. I missed the middle part of your question. Could you repeat it?
Yeah, I basically just want to find out what you're going to be doing over the next month. I know you're going to be gearing up for November the 1st, but I'm just curious to know
what we're doing.
You're going to be recruiting new students.
Well, yeah, we will be greeting students, of course, but what's happening during this month, during the rest of July, is that we're attending the Resisting Aggression with Defense course for men, which is part of the Rape Aggression Defense Systems program on KSU. And we've noticed some claims, editorials, and statistics in there that are either false or outdated. And basically, we're going to be getting in touch with that organization to encourage that they update their information so that men and women get the best possible information in these programs. It's basically a self-defense network.
Okay. Now, what events are going to be going on? I mean, I don't know what you call it in America. In Britain, we call it Freshers Week, when the new students come. And,
we normally call it orientation.
Orientation. Okay, so
right.
Are you going to be kind of setting up a store, or what are you going to be doing?
Well, we already did. We already just did that. There was an early orientation just recently, a few weeks ago, where we set up a table. That's where we got the last 15 signatures.
Okay. But are you going to be doing more of that in the upcoming weeks or months?
Oh, you bet. Yeah, the tabling is awesome. I mean, you get to meet a whole bunch of people, and it's really nice talking to everybody on campus. So yeah, that tabling is definitely something we'll be doing plenty of.
So I've only been to Kennesaw once. I just came actually earlier this year for the new art gallery that opened, and there was that controversy about the sort of censorship issue there. I don't know if you remember that.
No, I actually haven't followed that story.
Okay. Well, anyway, I mean, I was there then, but I'm interested in coming again. I'm just curious about sort of when you think would be a good time to come. If you think,
well, I would be delighted to include you in a KSOM meeting on Tuesday or Thursday, and then when you're up there, we could certainly take on any questions you may have.
Okay. Yeah, that would be good. I mean, because it's hard for me to sort of I mean, I'd like to look at this as a story, but part of it sort of depends on sort of the success that you have and just the reaction there is to your group. I mean, part of those things are, those are important for me.
Those are. I'll go ahead and be brutally honest here that a lot of those are going to remain unknown because KSUN at the end of the day is still a new organization, and like other new organizations, there's a lot of uncertainty and a lot of risk. But basically, my attitude is that it's going to be a success anyway. Even in some horrible worst case scenario where things go really south, at the end of the day, the ultimate goal was to learn something. We get documentation, and that gets reported. We basically say, here's what we've done, here's what happened. And I think that as long as something is learned, it's a success. But
the climate on campus these days where shutting down ideas. No, I'm just saying to shutting down ideas. I'm interested very much in free speech, and it seems as if there is a tendency now for different groups to sort of shut down ideas that they're not interested in.
Well, at the end of the day. At the end of the day, we cannot control the opinion of the campus. But one thing I can tell you is that over 30 people have shown their support for this organization, which is more than enough to indicate that there is a demand and that people want KSUM here. And even though KSUM is polarizing and that people have tried to take down the posters or what have you, the fact of the matter is people knew what we were about. They stepped up, they signed the form, and they said, please put me on your list. And they show up, they come to meetings, and it's wonderful. And I really wish that some of them were still, passionate, that they really wanted to express their passion enough that they would become public with their opinions, but we're not quite there yet.
Yes. Well, I can see on the one hand there is a kind of fear of just not wanting to put yourself out there, but at the same time, I mean, for me to write about it, I really have to have people who are able to talk, or otherwise it's still.
Well, tell you what,
it's a sort of murky thing that
what I can tell you is that if you are willing to come up to KSU and you're willing to attend one of the meetings, in the event, the timing is going to be important here because since this is the summer semester, there's going to be a lot of tests coming up quickly, so attendance will get really hard in the next few weeks. But next semester would be a good time because that's when many more students are on campus, many more students would be involved, and more time will be allocated towards student organization activity. If you come up there, you sit down, you'll meet some other students, and if they decide to remain anonymous, then I'm sure you can at least still get some sound bites out of them if you wanted to get a story from many more members.
I mean, in general, I try not to do sort of anonymous thing, just to, I try to get people's names, just for accountability reasons. But
that's fine.
I mean, I'm open. I'm open to kind of continuing the dialogue with you. I just wanted to kind of reach out to you just to say, hey, I'm interested in this. Potentially doing the story.
Fine. That's totally fine. I'm just saying that you're going to encounter students who are worried about their jobs, and we do live in a culture of fear when it comes to these issues. And because
I know. Even when I came to Kennesaw, like I say, a couple of months ago, and I was interviewing students about this artwork that had been censored. Right. Quite a few didn't want to give me their names. I realize that is an issue, and people are just sort of worried about.
I also want you to have people who are willing to come out with their names. I mean, I think that would be great if more and more people were out and talking about it. But I think that you're going to be in a situation where if you come on campus, you will only get the names of people who are much more comfortable knowing that people would agree with what they say if it was made public. So yeah, I mean, I wish I could do something about that, but I can't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm happy to come to one or even to come to a few and just get a sense for what it's about. Actually, just meet some people, and if they're interested of me, we can talk at that time. Right. I'm, really a fair reporter, and I'm just interested in this idea. I don't have a set agenda. In general, I would say I'm a humanist, but I'm wanting, if I do write about this, it would be just, from a fair and sort of open point of view.
You
said that your meetings were open to women. Have you ever actually had women attend a meeting?
Yes, we have. We had, in fact, KSU Men's first officer team was split evenly between men and women with a female advisor, female treasurer, and the male vice president, and then myself. So yes, we have women that were in the administration. We've had women that came to meetings, and I think it was, if I'm remembering off the top of my head correctly, we had 5 women sign up at the last Ignition tailgate with the orientation. Now, so again, the idea is that we specialize in men and boys, but it's not a boys' club. It's a place where we discuss issues affecting men and boys and women who are concerned about things happening to their fathers, their sons, their brothers. They can learn about that here. And it's a...
But is it just that? Because, I mean, just looking at the flyer, you do promote yourself as an anti-feminism organization.
We promote ourselves as non-feminist. Now, anti-feminism may very well be expressed in K-Sum, but the idea is that we promote alternative perspectives that are beyond just what is politically popular. It's meant to be for the intellectually curious. Now I can tell you with confidence that I personally am anti-feminist, but I am not going to in any way impose that viewpoint, since there are humanists here, and I'm a humanist myself, and we advertise ourselves overall as non-feminist, not anti. There's no sense in making the organization that polarizing, because we want to remain inclusive to those who are actually wanting to just explore ideas that are beyond a simple, feminism versus anti-feminism fight.
Right. I mean, I only said that just because you were saying that some women were joining because they were concerned about, for example, their family members or whatever. But I'm just curious about whether there's actually, some of those women are expressing a kind of concern about feminism. The only one
that was really concerning, expressing a concern about feminism in that light was the woman that I actually responded to in those emails. That is the one that was really, really trying to do that. And she is a student on KSU, and I do not know her name, nor do I know where she was from. That email came from a response to a classified ad that I had posted in the KSU paper, the Sentinel. And but outside of that, there was no person explicitly talking about feminism, but there was another feminist that dropped off a hate note addressed to me. That's the only other thing I've noticed. But outside of that, people have been pretty open to it. In fact, faculty's been open to it. It's been a pretty positive experience, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. When I said concern about feminism, I meant more concern with the limits of feminism.
What now?
Women who are concerned, that feminism isn't, leading to a progressive sort of situation, or, leading to a kind of fruitful culture. Well, women who, I myself meet women who are frustrated with veins of feminism. So I'm just curious if you are seeing those women, or if their motivations are kind of different.
Well, I can tell you that I'm a part of the Honey Badger Brigade. You aware of that?
What is it called? The Honey Badger?
Honey Badger Brigade. It's a radio show that was founded by women who identify themselves as anti-feminist, and they are basically, the idea is that I've met women on campus like this too, where the idea is that women feel like they're being denied their individual agency by feminism. They don't feel like they're being given as much of a choice over their own lives and their love of it, because there is a political ideology that's trying to cast them as victims and to make them feel powerless. So that's the attitude there.
Yeah. But the purpose of your group is mostly just to kind of amend advocacy groups, so sort of trying to sort of level the playing field and kind of
think of it this way. Think of it this way. Say if you had we're humanists ultimately. Now, if you were to look at an animal liberationist group, and they were to specialize in pushing beached whales back into the ocean, that'd be their thing. It didn't make them any less animal liberationist. But if there could be another animal liberationist group that helps baby turtles get to the sea. It's just a specialization. That's all it is. But there's still humanist principles under it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so I am interested in coming. If you want to get in touch with me just to let me know when would be a particularly good time, I'm flexible. I was thinking it would be.
Well, I would want to get you in when we have a good turnout at the meetings. Now, July is the last month of the summer semester, right? Now, that means that finals are coming fast. So that means attendance is going to go down for every student organization, since everybody's going to be studying, right? Now, midterms are kind of now, so it's going to be very tough to do summer. I would say we need to look at a time, sometime maybe late August, when people get settled in to their new semester. That's when we'll start seeing a pickup.
Okay. Well, I'm up for that. If anything happens in the meantime, just get in touch with me if there's any reason, that you see things picking up before then, or there's any kind of reaction to your group's activities, or you have success in in any particular endeavor. Just get in touch and just sort of let me know in the meantime. Really, I just wanted to sort of this conversation
there are a lot of people I have to keep in the loop here. So if I have any I will try my best to remember to call you, but you're going to be on a big list. So I'll just I think it'd be easier if you sent me an email every now and then to remind me to get back in touch with you, since that'd be much easier for me.
Okay, well, that's fine too. So I'm going to just write a note for late August, and I'll check in with you in the meantime as well.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for talking to me. I'm gonna, have a brief and a sort of understanding now, but I'm hoping to find out more, in the next.
Oh, you will.
The next month or so.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks very much, Paige. I appreciate it.
Thank you. You have a wonderful day.
Yeah, you too.
Bye-bye.
Okay.